Hey guys, so today's video is slightly different. We're talking about TikTokers once again lying about things that are very strange and just odd to lie about, also just kind of evil. So subscribe to the bell, like, comment for an engagement, and let's get into it. So today we're talking about Maddie Russo, who is a TikToker with pancreatic cancer, allegedly. But also before we get into that story, I'll mention another story that kind of intrigued me with this whole topic, and it was a completely different TikToker. Basically, John Green, who wrote The Fault in Our Stars, filmed a TikTok about The Fault in Our Stars, just kind of reminiscing on it. And this woman basically said like, oh, John Green, by the way, your story, there are people outside my door. I know people are allowed to live their lives. And she basically kind of made her own TikTok in response to John Green, and she said that his story essentially inspired the story of someone she was dating who pretended to have cancer by quoting the book and the movie. Well, if you quote the book, you're kind of quoting the movie. She actually went to watch the movie and realized that she had been duped this whole time, because she then like figured out that like the quotes this person was saying to her were the quotes that were in the movie. So she then realized that she was being lied to about someone's cancer.
You want to know something weird? The Fault in Our Stars came out 11 years ago today. What a strange 11 years it's been.
Hi, John. Congrats on 11 years with Fault in Our Stars. Your book actually completely changed my life twice, and it's the weirdest way possible. Let me tell you more about it. Your book came out in 2012, but I actually didn't know anything about the story until 2014 when the movie came out. At the time, I was married to someone who was dying of terminal bone cancer. She had only a few months left to live. And so it was a very poignant story, but as I'm watching the movie, I'm realizing that almost identical to the story plot is my wife's life. We hadn't known each other for very long before we got married because she was dying of cancer, and I thought this is just too close. So I went back, read your book, and even the phrases that you used, she would use on the daily. So it was your story that inspired her to fake terminal bone cancer, but it was also your movie from that story that gave me the first alarm bells to prove that she was lying to me about having terminal bone cancer. Don't worry, she's still alive and well today, but I guess thank you. Anyway, congrats.
And I was like, wow, that sounds like a nightmare. I wonder if someone else has done this. And they have. There's this woman called Maddie Russo. So there are a few TikToks of Maddie Russo essentially discussing her pancreatic cancer, discussing how he's been living with the cancer.
So when my older brother Tyler turned 18 years old, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is a chronic autoimmune disease where the pancreas no longer produces insulin on its own. With this being said, I was also tested to see if I would develop type 1 diabetes and see if I was positive for any of the antibodies. So when the test came back, I ended up being positive for all 5 out of 5 antibodies. And in February of 2020, I was also diagnosed with type 1 at 17 years old. Fast forward to February of 2022, I had yearly lab work done just with my primary care provider as a standard checkup. And aside from starting to feel just a little bit off, my lab work came back and my white blood cell counts were not in normal range. So further testing was then done. And on February 10th of 2022, quite possibly the worst day of my life occurred. I got the call from my oncologist and they found a mass on my pancreas, and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer at just 19 years old. Scared is an understatement. I was terrified, and I definitely still am. But I'm really glad I went to my yearly health check, because it would have been so easy to just skip it and say I'm fine. So please take my experience and get regular lab work done, because the sooner you catch anything that is wrong, the better chance of outcome and survival you would have. And it really could save your life, like it did mine. So after finding out, I started treatment right away, consisting of oral chemo and radiation. So far, I have completed 8 rounds of chemo and over 50 rounds of radiation. And then at my 3-month scan, I was informed that the tumor on my pancreas was shrinking and it was responding to treatment. However, it It's also spread to my blood and is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. There is a mental health crisis in America right now, and I want to touch on the impact that cancer and chronic disease patients can go through. When your life changes in an instant and many days are spent vomiting and pain and being restricted with what you can do, your mind also becomes sick. It's a very lonely and isolating disease. So please don't take for granted enjoying every moment in your life, even the little ones. Please check in on your friends that seem strong, as those people are often the ones that are struggling the most. They appear like they carry it well, however, they are being weighed down. If you look at me, you would never know that I am sick. I still have hair, I can put on makeup to hide the exhaustion and the pain, and I carry myself fairly well at work and school. I want you to know that invisible illness affects so many people across the globe. You could look at somebody from the outside and think they look healthy, but you don't see that inside their body is literally trying to destroy them. I have been honored to speak to my school about my experience of battling cancer, still finishing out my semester with a 3.85 GPA and landing an internship with one of my dream companies, John Deere, all while taking treatment. Advocating for other patients and inspiring individuals along the way has been a coping mechanism for me, and I hope this story has inspired you as well. You know, when you get knocked down 9 times up, you stand up 10 more times. Every single day, I go to war with myself because in order to survive, I have to fight like hell. The 5-year outlook of survival is a slim 11%. 11%. At 19 years old, I don't know if I will live to see the day when I graduate college, get married, become a mom, etc. So in the meantime, I fight. I have to be so mentally tough to battle this beast. I might have bad moments of weakness from time to time, but I never give in. You don't have to struggle in silence. Lean on friends and family. Experiencing these obstacles at such a young age has given me incredible drive, determination, and grit. Type 1 diabetes does not define me. Pancreatic cancer does not define me. Leukemia does not define me. I am so much more than these awful diseases, and instead, it's just another chapter to my story. I will continue to thrive in school, thrive in my career, and thrive in my personal development. I will be able to walk across the stage at my college graduation, able to get married and become a mom. I just have to continue to fight and advocate for a cure. And I will ring the bell and be declared cancer-free someday.
She also posted how she doesn't lose hair while on chemotherapy and says that's all due to biotin, which is a supplement for hair growth.
I wanted to share was how I've been keeping my hair during treatment with chemo and radiation. I think it's really been helping because it's like unmedicated. So here's the packaging of that. You just order it online. It comes with like a 3-month supply. I started this right away when I started treatment. And then soon after treatment, my mom found this. It's biotin with collagen and keratin. It's a little...
kind of like imagine sugar bear hair, but like slightly more researched, which like biotin is great if you're taking it just in your spare time, but it will definitely not override the extreme symptoms of chemotherapy, which is, you know, we know chemotherapy is so devastating to the like organism that is you. There is this TikToker that started going over why she thinks that Maddie Russo is lying. There are a few things, I'm gonna play some of the TikToks for you guys just as like context for everything, but there are some things like the fact that she even posted this picture with a tube going into her nose and it was stuck to kind of here where it would normally be stuck, but it wasn't using like medical tape.
Here's our girl with her feeding tube that's not primed. It looks like TPN. Let's go closer to her nose. Is that the end of the feeding tube? What is going on with that chest port? I am not a chemo nurse, but this doesn't look like a port to me. The dressing is really screwed up. To me, it's giving G-tube vibes with that little circular piece right there. This was on her GoFundMe.
And people have just been calling out, like, you know, the biotin thing. Why are you not losing hair when you're on chemotherapy? Why do you still look healthy? Like, you're not completely drained of energy. You know, whenever people are going through chemotherapy, I know a lot of people go through cancer or just have someone in their family that went through cancer. I have a lot of cancer in my family, so I'm kind of sadly an expert on this, but also like, shoot, I should be getting some kind of testing done at some point soon. It really just runs in my family. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. Like, you see people in your family go through cancer and go through chemotherapy, and just what kind of devastation it causes to them, to their energy levels, to their weight, to the way they look. Like, you can just tell that they're really like, they're giving their all, you know? The chemotherapy is giving its all, they're giving their all. She does not look like someone who is really struggling. And pancreatic cancer is known to be devastating. I know all cancer is devastating, but there are some that are just like, you know, more devastating. She also said at some point that the cancer had spread to her blood and other organs. She really was spinning the story as a thing that was like, she could have just stuck, if she wanted to lie, she could have tried something a little bit weaker. Like, it would still gain her sympathy points, but it would be more believable, right? If she was saying, oh, I'm not going through chemotherapy because I'm choosing to not go through chemotherapy, then maybe the lies would spin out a little bit differently. And you guys probably think I'm a complete loser for accusing someone of lying about cancer, but I promise this is a thing, and it's true, kind of confirmed, allegedly. She also had a GoFundMe where she was raising money to cure her cancer. So she was raising money for the chemotherapy because in America, the healthcare system, bit rubbish. You need to do the GoFundMes a lot of the time, which sucks. So that's mainly why everyone is kind of concerned with this whole lying about cancer thing, because it will lead to more people not trusting GoFundMes and not donating to people that actually have cancer and actually need the money, or any other condition or any other situation. You know, people are already so skeptical of GoFundMe because anyone can tell whatever story they want, but I just think like it stops people from being good people because they don't want to waste money on bad people, which I understand, but it sucks that people like this essentially stigmatize getting help on the internet when it's so crucial. Now, if you guys think still that I'm being a dickhead, The Independent wrote about this whole thing, right? And when I get to the article, like, you guys are already gonna be shocked and bamboozled. So a fake cancer patient was exposed on TikTok. Now genuine survivors are asking donors not to give up on them. See, that's what I mean. It sucks. Maddie Russo raised more than $37,000 after claiming she was suffering from 3 forms of aggressive cancer. 3 forms. She really thought, like, let me lie, but like make it so difficult to prove my lie. Why would you make it so difficult for yourself? I'm not here advocating for people to be good liars. But if you're going to lie badly, just don't lie. I don't understand. I kind of enjoy the fact that people don't know how to lie properly, because then we just catch them and it's great, you know? Because if they were good liars, we would still be donating to her GoFundMe. After her ruse was exposed by experts on TikTok, cancer survivors and charities say that they are trying to rebuild trust with the donors they rely on. Iowa teenager Maddie Russo first revealed her pancreatic cancer diagnosis in an interview with the North Scott Press's former editor Scott Campbell last October. So Miss Russo, 19, told the veteran newsman that after an initial diagnosis 8 months earlier, she'd been told by doctors that same day that the cancer had developed into a football-sized tumor. She had told him that the cancer had wrapped around her lower back and spine and spread to her blood, claiming she had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I wouldn't even know where to start with trying to lie about cancer, because I don't know any, like, I had so much cancer in my family, but I don't know any of these terms. I just know cancer bad, chemotherapy good, but also like tough, you know? I was terrified, and I definitely still am. Miss Russo told the Free Press. I was in shock. I didn't think it could be true. I'm so young and I wondered how this could happen. Honestly, it sounds like a devastating thing, right? Recalling the conversation in an interview with The Independent on Thursday, Mr. Campbell said the story, while tragic, was something he had covered countless times in his 40-year career. I knew this girl from when she was in high school, so I didn't even think twice about it. Ms. Russo had already begun documenting her cancer journey on GoFundMe, LinkedIn, and TikTok videos, where she shared tips on how she managed to keep her flowing mane of brunette hair healthy while undergoing chemotherapy. This also sucks for like everyone else that maybe, you know, is just going through chemotherapy now and is starting to lose hair and thought, wow, like I can see that she's going through chemotherapy, her cancer is so aggressive, and she's managing to keep her hair. I'm gonna buy the biotin, I'm gonna follow her tips and tricks, and it's not working for them, and they're once again blaming themselves. Like, I also think it sucks that she was trying to be this like tip and trick advice person for cancer when she has never ever felt what it's like to have cancer or how to deal with it. So she doesn't have any tips and tricks, she doesn't have any advice because she's never gone through it. Like, that really sucks for people to put that trust in her as well. If anyone was watching her who also has cancer and is going through chemotherapy, I also think there's like that second aspect of it, of like not just the money aspect of things, but also just like people maybe going through similar situations, putting that emotional trust in her. Perma tanned and with bleached white teeth. Ms. Russo claimed she had received dozens of rounds of chemotherapy and radiation over an 8-month period. If you look at me, you would never know I'm sick, she said on one TikTok. That is tragic. That is tragic. Because there are already so many beauty standards out in the world, to then put a beauty standard on like going through chemotherapy. Like, I'm going through chemotherapy, but I still look fantastic. Why do you not look fantastic going through chemotherapy? Wow, you know? Like, this just sucks. This just really sucks. I'm so disappointed in humanity way. She spoke about how she was freezing her eggs to keep her fertility options open.
Incubator freezer thing, it's kind of cool. I don't know, it's weird that like my eggs are just sitting in some medical freezer, and if I need them down the road, I can just go and get them. Like, it's how bizarre. But anyways, that is the big thing for this week. So I'm gonna do that, hoping to get a good turnout with all of the eggs. Hopefully I get more, and it just kind of, you know, is a peace of mind, because obviously I never thought about when I was diagnosed about like what could be impacted in my future, and one of it being kids. You know, like I obviously when I'm older I want to be a mom someday. I want to just, you know, do what normal people do, and this is a really good way though to make sure that that everything is, you know, we're playing it safe. And I'm thankful that my doctors coordinate with each other to make it the easiest and kind of most effective process for me. So very thankful for that. And yeah, just a little update. So this week is just a little different, but typically I think I can do the egg removals like once a month. So if I want to keep doing them just to keep being safe, I can keep doing them. If I want to stop, take a break, I can do it. It's really flexible. So the procedure is a little painful, but hopefully it's pretty quick. Fingers crossed for that. And then I am just done and on my way. So just a little update for you guys.
Ms. Russo also shared footage of herself apparently undergoing chemotherapy treatment with an IV pole with cords and tubes attached to her nasal passage. Late last year, medical professionals began to point out life-threatening discrepancies in how she was using the equipment in TikTok videos. One noticed that the gastronomy tube was too far up her nose and even grabbed her son's old tube to demonstrate. Mr. Campbell told The Independent that several whistleblowers, including local cancer specialists, contacted him on 10th of January to share their doubts about Ms. Russo's story. They wanted to know if I had any physical proof of the diagnosis. Like, is there a piece of paper? Is there a doctor's note? Anything. I sound like a teacher. Do you have a doctor's note? The anonymous medic said it appeared that Ms. Russo's cancer claims had been scraped off Google. They shared screenshots of Instagram and Facebook messages, including some from Ms. Russo's mother, begging her to get a second opinion. The big tip-off was that Maddie looked as healthy as can be. They said that anyone who went through 40 rounds of chemo and 90 rounds of radiation wouldn't look the way she does, would not be able to keep up the lifestyle that she does. Mr. Campbell said, adding that the eagle-eyed medical experts had the evidence all laid out. By the time the police had got it, it was pretty much an open and shut case. He advised them to take the information to the Eldridge Police Department. Even as the alleged ruse was unraveling, Ms. Russo continued to post emotional updates calling for donations to her GoFundMe. Maddie's cancer has been progressively getting worse and has spread all over her body, including throughout her blood and also on her spine. A 9th January update read on the since deleted page. She has tried everything and given it her all. Chemo, radiation, and other methods have no longer helped. According to an affidavit from the Eldridge Police Department, police received a complaint on the 11th of January that Ms. Russo had fraudulently received more than $37,000 from 439 donors to her GoFundMe account. All of this for 40 grand. I do understand that 40 grand is a lot of money. I understand it can be life-changing in situations. Is it worth going to jail though? Like, if I thought, let's say hypothetically I'm going to jail for 10 years, how much money would I need for that to be worth it, you know? Definitely not 40 grand. I think 40 grand in this economy? that'll barely heat your house for 4 days, you know? You're going to jail for 10 years, lady, for 37 grand. Once again, I'm saying 37 grand is a lot of money, but not 10 years worth of jail time, because that means you're making 4 grand a year, which is not even a part-time job. So you could have just got a part-time job and you wouldn't have ended up in jail. I don't know what to tell you. The St. Ambrose University accountancy student and John Deere intern was arrested on 23rd of January and charged with 1 count of first-degree theft. Why was I struggling with that word so much? Theft. A felony punishable by 10 years in prison. When police raided her apartment in nearby Bettendorf, they seized a brown wig. That was not funny, but it's just like, why? What's going on? An IV pole with a feeding pump filled with cotton balls, medical supplies in relatives' name, cash, bank statements, and a Kia Sportage registered to Russo. Court records obtained by the North Scott Press show, and here is a picture of her arrested with first-degree theft charges. Police said in an affidavit that Miss Russo's footage of her treatment, purportedly taken inside a medical office, was actually filmed in her apartment. Eldridge police checked medical records at 3 area hospitals where Miss Russo had claimed to have been treated, but none could find any record of a cancer diagnosis, the affidavit stated. Unless she had diagnosed herself at home, which you probably shouldn't do with cancer. You should probably go, you know, see a specialist. GoFundMe has since taken down her page and refunded donations. That's amazing. I'm so glad everyone got their money back. Tom Booland, the man who started her GoFundMe campaign, posted a $10,000 cash bail, according to court records obtained by the Quad City Times. Is that Quad? I think that says Quad. So it's actually a 2-people job, which means they actually only got just under 20k each if they were splitting it fairly. At that point, for the maximum 10-year sentence, please just get a job. I know in this economy it's very difficult, but I'm sure finding a job would be easier than putting on this show. Like the fact that she had to buy like medical equipment for it, learn how to use the medical equipment, learn about cancer to be able to like talk about it, do interviews. All of that sounds like a job. That sounds like you're doing a full-time job. Please, like it would have just been easier to find a full-time job than doing all of this. Their stories kind of mirrored each other. When Iowa teenager Charlie Epselding died after a long battle with cancer last October, Miss Russo was among the first to publicly mourn her death. So she just like almost stole someone's story. Like she would like look at maybe people who had cancer, died of cancer, and then just kind of take bits of their stories. This absolutely breaks my heart, she wrote in a since deleted Facebook post, which were resurfaced by the Mama Mystery podcast TikTok account. Charlie and I would text each other daily, talking about all the ups and downs of both our battles with cancer. Oh my god, she pretended to have cancer to this person. This is what I mean. Oh, my hedge got stuck in my nail. It's like the emotional deceit as well. Just getting people with cancer to like tell you how they feel about cancer because they think you're also going through the same thing when you're not. You're just exploiting them to be able to like find out about cancer and use that to fraudulently take money from people. Yikes, you know? Yikes. They were the same age and lived minutes apart in a metropolitan area known as the Quad Cities on the state border with Illinois. They'd been in constant text contact right up until her death, Miss Russo wrote. And their stories kind of mirrored each other, which means that she did talk to this cancer patient to be able to get knowledge on cancer, to be able to fraudulently get 40 grand from people for her cancer. So among those who donated to Miss Russo's GoFundMe was Peggy Oles, who set up the All Strong Foundation to raise money for pancreatic cancer sufferers after her husband, Dr. Brent Oles, died from the disease in 2018. In the same interview with the North Scott Press in 2018, Miss Russo explained that Peggy Oles had gone to school with her mother, also named Peggy, and shared a birthday with her father. When Peggy found out about me, she immediately reached out and I received a whole package of support materials, including $500 in gift cards. Now I also do wonder, like, did her family know that she was lying about having cancer? Did they think that she had cancer? Did she lie to them as well? Because if this person knows her family, wouldn't that come out somehow? Like, do her family not know what having cancer looks like? Like, how much was she pretending behind the scenes, or are her parents also fraudulent? A member of the Oles family declined to speak when contacted by The Independent, and in a statement posted to its Facebook page, the foundation said it was saddened to hear that one of our recipients in 2022 has been charged with fraudulently accepting assistance from our fund. That fund could have gone to someone who actually has cancer. Ms. Russo also claimed to have been a guest speaker for the National Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, and the organization's founder, Rhonda Williams, later released a statement saying Ms. Russo had not had any contact with the foundation and had never spoken at any of their events. It's also lying about things that can be easily disproven. What is wrong with people? This is like and I don't want to diagnose anyone, but like feeling like you can take on other people's stories, use that for sympathy, and then not get caught, like almost thinking that other people are too dumb to catch onto your lies when you're literally doing it publicly. And most of this information is public. In one of her many TikTok posts, Miss Russo shared an image with text of herself along with the words "drained from chemo." Ugh, this makes me feel sick. The photo was taken from an Instagram public page belonging to a cancer survivor named Jessica Sanders, according to an affidavit from the Eldridge police. Stealing other people's stories, stealing other people's pictures, stealing money. Miss Sanders, who is in recovery after being diagnosed with ovarian cancer at the age of 20, told KWQC she had never met Miss Russo and felt violated. Other members of the cancer survivor community who befriended Miss Russo have been rocked by revelations of her alleged scam, obviously. Among those were Joe Tower and his wife Anna Tower Kavesdi, who received a shock diagnosis of acute lymphoblastic leukemia in December 2021. It seems like she's really stealing stories from whoever she meets. Like, it was she had a friend who had pancreatic cancer and died, so she stole that story, and then she stole a picture from someone who had ovarian cancer, and then she met someone who had acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and then suddenly she has acute lymphoblastic leukemia. It's like she finds out these things and she's like, oh, that would be great for my story. Mr. Tower told how the integrity of cancer survivors and their caregivers had been called into question after Miss Russo's arrest, and how many had been forced to face our networks to address the issue of fraudulence. Crowdfunding platforms have been revolutionary in connecting donors to the desperate, he said, but added that anyone looking to help should do their homework and try to personally connect with the fundraiser. Soliciting a donation isn't nearly as important to us as maintaining the relationship between the fundraising campaign and our donor community. So The Independent has attempted to reach Miss Russo and her family multiple times through phone calls, texts, and social media, and I'm assuming they haven't responded. Let me actually look it up quickly if there's been any updates. Maddie Russo. Russo is expected to appear in court on February 23rd, which is actually in about 5 days. She's been released from jail on $10,000 bail, which court records show was posted by Thomas Bouland, who's also listed as the GoFundMe's organizer. Bouland's relation to Russo is not yet clear. So Insider says that this is a Class C felony for which Russo has been charged, and it's punishable by up to 10 years in jail. Obviously, she won't get the whole 10 years. Most people don't get the full amount unless what they do is, like, I think she would have had to do even more. Like, I know this is already bad, but I think she would have had to do even more. Editing Angelika here. By saying she won't get the full sentence, I also meant in comparison to other people that have fraudulently received money. For example, Elizabeth Holmes recently also got a 10-year sentence, but she defrauded like millions of people, lied about having new medical technology she didn't have, swindled hundreds of millions from investors, and she's getting 10 years in jail. So like someone that stole 40 grand from people, as bad as that is not on the same level as Elizabeth Holmes, so they probably won't get the same sentence. So I'm saying like her jail time probably won't be massive, but it's just the principle of having that criminal record. It is punishable by up to 10 years in jail, as well as fines ranging from $1,000 to $10,000. I'm assuming she might get a higher fine and a lower jail sentence. But yeah, I don't think she'll be in jail for 10 years, but I think she'll definitely get the fine, and then she'll have a ruined reputation for the rest of her life. Like, who would want to employ her after this, you know? And all of that for 37 grand. Once again, I'm saying 37 grand, a lot of money. 37 grand to last your whole life? No. She will struggle to get a job after jail. She won't work while she's in jail. Was it worth it? Was this really worth it? Obviously, she was hoping to get more money from this, but that's not the point. The point is, this was not worth it at all. Don't scam, kids. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the bell, like, comment for engagement, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.